What you are about to learn has nothing to do with willpower or attempts to ignore your feelings. It's not about pretending that everything is fine when it's not. And it's definitely not about forcing positive thinking or fighting every negative thought that comes to your mind. The real key to being untouched by anything or anyone lies much deeper. It's something that most people overlook because they seek solutions in the external world, not realizing that real changes always start from within. Perhaps you have noticed that there are people who, no matter what happens, maintain a remarkable calmness. Whether they're going through a crisis, loss, or periods of uncertainty, they remain in their center. At the same time, others seem to be on the verge of breakdown even in ordinary situations, falling into the trap of their own emotions and reactions. Why does this happen? Is it luck, character, or is there a hidden principle that separates those who master their inner world from those who remain its slaves? This is where most people go wrong. They believe that reality is objective, that things just happen, and their feelings are an inevitable consequence of what is happening outside. But that's not true. Everything you experience, absolutely everything, goes through the filter of your perception of life, through the prism of beliefs you have carried from long ago, through emotions you have not yet learned to control. It's like wearing glasses of a certain color. No matter what is in front of you, you will always see the world through this filter. And if this filter is distorted by fear, resentment, or guilt, then the world will reflect exactly that. Not because life is unfair, but because you cannot see beyond what you carry inside. But here is the key that no one told you about. It's not about avoiding pain or running away from complex emotions. It's not about becoming immune to everything that happens around you. It's about transforming the meanings you give to EAC, reprogramming the way you perceive reality, learning to turn every emotion into a tool for growth, not a burden that keeps you captive. Because the truth is that reality is not imposed, it is interpreted. And when you understand this, when you learn to control this interpretation, you discover that you can choose how to react to any situation. And at that moment, you truly become free. Today, I will show you how to do it, not with abstract theories, but through principles used by those who have achieved inner peace independent of anything or anyone. You will learn how to turn fear into clarity, how to make negative emotions work for you, not against you, and how to achieve a state of unwavering tranquility no matter what happens in your life. What you will understand now can change everything, but only if you are willing to look inside yourself and question everything you have taken for granted until now. Because in the end, events do not determine your peace, it's how you choose to live them. And when you understand how to transform this process, you realize that nothing and no one can influence you as before. Every emotion that arises carries a message. Sadness often indicates that something needs to be let go of, an attachment that no longer serves you, an expectation that has not been met, a part of you that needs to be released. Fear reveals limiting beliefs, deeply rooted ideas that you're not good enough, that you don't deserve what you want, that failure is something to avoid at all costs. Anger, which we so often try to suppress, is actually a reminder that your boundaries have been violated, that something in your environment does not respect your true self. When you start seeing your emotions not as obstacles, but as guides, something inside you changes. And when your inner world changes, the outer world starts to change as well. Now imagine a situation where you would normally react automatically. Perhaps a disagreement with a loved one, a conflict at work, a moment when you feel insecure or attacked. Instead of acting impulsively, pause, breathe, observe the scene as if you were a spectator, someone who sees everything from the outside, without attachment. The main question is, which part of me is reacting right now? Is the external situation really affecting me? Or is it something inside me that was already there? The answers to these questions can completely change your life, because when you understand that external events have power over you only if there is something inside you that allows it, you start taking back control. Carl Jung spoke of the concept of the silent observer, that part of consciousness that is not subject to emotions or external circumstances, the space inside you that, despite everything, remains calm. When you access this part of your mind, you discover that nothing and no one has the power to influence you unless you give them that power. And at that moment, you realize that every time something throws you off balance, it's not because the world is unfair or people want to hurt you, but because there is something inside you that still needs to be worked on. And here lies the true key to achieving unwavering peace. Not in changing the external world, but in transforming how you perceive it. When you reach this point, storms no longer frighten you, because you understand that they are temporary, and behind each of them lies an opportunity for growth. If you deeply analyze this thought, you will notice that it is not yours. It's something you heard, absorbed at some point in your life, and without realizing it, accepted as an absolute truth. But here is the key. You don't need to continue holding on to it. Imagine for a moment that from today, you decide to change the narrative, that instead of repeating to yourself that you're not enough, you start integrating the thought that you have always been capable, that the only thing holding you back is the story you have been telling yourself. What Jung taught us is that the unconscious does not distinguish between real and imaginary. It simply responds to the programming we give it. If you start feeding your mind with beliefs that strengthen you, your external reality will inevitably start reflecting that. Ultimately, you come to understand that the only person who can define who you are and how you feel is you. And at that moment, the world stops having power over you, because now, for the first time, you are the one in control of the situation. Remember, it's not the event that determines your peace, it's how you live it. And when you learn to manage this process, you discover that nothing and no one can influence you as before, because now you have something that no one can take away from you. The ability to remain at peace with yourself, not matter what happens around you.